The way I see AI and machine learning evolving in cybersecurity next year is really going to be around the growing volume and sophistication of cyber threats, resource constraints that companies have, and the complexity of the modern IT environments that they face. Talking about real-time threat detection and response, enhanced incident response, continuous risk management.
Where I see AI and machine learning evolving in our industry, cybersecurity, over the next years is in a few points. Number one, co-pilots offer very limited value. We saw in the early days of AI solutions, everybody created their own co-pilot. It's okay, but is it really driving that much value? LLMs, as just by themselves being cyber risk management solutions and solving it is super naive. Look, LLMs are really good at certain things. They're really good at parsing data and looking at data and spitting data back in various formats, which I think is an advantage in certain cases. But that by itself isn't going to solve the bigger cyber risk management problems. So here's what's kind of going to evolve. We need to get a little more advanced in our AI capabilities. So we saw this trend this year, late last year into early this year. Everybody wanted to build a co-pilot for the sake of building a co-pilot. That's yawning in 2025. Where these solutions are going to move to is more advanced analytics of very large data sets. And when I mean large data sets, I'm talking tens to hundreds of millions of data points. The human brain cannot wrap itself around that massive set of data. And so you're going to see this evolution of these things known as graphical neural networks that allow you to model the relationship of data and then run more advanced kind of ML AI models over the top of that to actually find some really interesting data. Like, is this an anomaly or is this something I should care about? The example that I give, and I've shared this with a lot of our clients, is when a new vulnerability comes out, the first question your board's going to ask you is, oh my gosh, are we susceptible to that vulnerability? What if I could take that vulnerability, run it through an advanced model that already understands the context of who you are, and literally within seconds come back and say, nope, doesn't matter to you, or yes, and here's the potential impact. That's where AI advancements and evolution are going to happen moving forward. And that's where these technologies are really going to have impact on value.
I see the role of AI and machine learning evolving in cybersecurity over the next year in that we're moving from sort of the craze phase into more of the practical phase and practical solutions. So the last year or so, I think, just represented increasing awareness among executives that AI would be transformational. And they could see that in their companies with the rapid and sometimes illicit adoption of LLMs by their employees. All the conferences I went to last year, the CISOs were shutting that down as quickly as possible and trying to get more control on the data. But the AI hyperscalers have realized that they can get more adoption if they offer, on-premise solutions or contained solutions that handle the data governance issue more appropriately. But LLMs are going to have vast value in cyber, but at the same time, they're not the only solution. They can't just be a standalone solution. You can't just talk to an LLM all day long about the problem in cyber, because cyber is a data problem and you need to have all these disparate data sources running in some models to get good answers. That's not going to be immediately available to the average cybersecurity employee. They're not running a giant, data set or data sets that are correlated and classified properly. So what we're really seeing is, unique models like the ones we build that are more bespoke, that run in slightly different architectures like graph neural nets on top of machine learning that can then interact with, an LLM. So an LLM, you can think about it really is sort of a rational sort of skin atop deeper analytics. The LLMs have been trained on the entire internet. You don't really need to have all of that data flying around, right? So, cyber has very specific open source sources. So I see more specific, but bespoke, business context specific cybersecurity models that take into account actuarial data, that take into account posture data, control data, vulnerability, threat data. That's what we're building. And then, of course, the LLM can sort of be the interpretive layer.